Hey everybody, it's episode 44 of the DCC. This week we've got the animation attack, the 401 and 1901, and we're gonna geek out, but also it's kind of like fun and then not fun.
We're talking about the Nashville Predators.
Because of the Nashville Predators, that's right.
The Nashville Predators.
We're talking about Predators and the Nashville Predators. My favorite Nashville Predator is PK Subban, but that's
I don't even know who that is.
I know, he's the best. To all who come to this happy place, welcome to the DCC. Hello, Shannon. How are you?
I am good, Dale. I have like 20 pages left in my book, which is what I was reading before you actually called me. So, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry I interrupted your time during our
I'm just disappointed in
meeting.
myself. Like, I could have finished that book, but instead I watched 2 episodes of Game of Thrones. I only have 1 episode of Game of Thrones left.
To catch up?
By the way. Yeah, and I'll be caught up. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So, like, you haven't got to the episode where they all die. That's super cool.
That's right, yeah. Everybody's still alive.
Or you technically you have seen that episode a couple times.
I saw the second to last episode, the Beyond the Wall one. I had already seen that one.
Yeah, that's right.
But now I'm on the last episode.
The last one.
I don't know what it's called, but the picture on HBO Go is of Sansa. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't really care about you right now. Whatever. I'm from the South. Thank you.
So, that doesn't matter. It's someone's name. You still have to say it the way they would say it.
Okay.
I can't just be like, oh, up here we say Shornan. Hello, Shornan.
Except that's like putting an extra letter in.
I'm from the north. I say it different. Doop-a-doo.
Well, fine.
That's when people with accents, like we all do it, obviously.
It is weird though, because
we're just like,
from
what?
Frozen, I do say Anna, but for some reason it sounds weird to say Sansa to me.
Yeah. Well,
it's just weird for me to say it. I don't know why.
That's weird. Yeah.
I know, right? It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. You're from the South. Because that's the excuse
correct.
for everything, right?
That's the excuse for everything. I'm from the South. Leave me alone.
It's like I kind of like country music. What? Well, I'm from the South. Oh.
See, it excuses it, except I hate country music.
Yeah.
Because I'm from Nashville.
Yeah. And it's the lowest form of music.
You know what's awesome, though? 21 Pilots.
Oh, yeah. They are good. They're good. I like them. They're the kids got into them for a bit there. I'm more into like right now my band is Gunship. And
yeah, you sent me some of that.
Yeah. I actually didn't like the album the first time I listened to it, and then now I love it a lot.
Yeah, you said that, and I listened to it, like one of the songs, and I'm like, this is super weird. I don't know about this.
You just gotta listen. You just gotta put on the album and like clean your room or something. You know what I mean? Like when you're just because they're weird because they do this synthwave music, but they have singing in it, which is actually pretty unique in synthwave to have the vocals. But it's cool, and then they have you'll realize oh, actually that's the Terminator sample that they're using in that one called Tech Noir, or they're using this sample, and they're their music. Maybe you'll like them if you watch the music videos because it's all clips from 80s movies, or they have this claymation one, which is really cool. So yeah, I don't know. Gunship's my jams right now. Gunship, Oliver, and Always Forever classics. But yeah. All right, well, you know what? Let's get on to the animation attack because there's this little guy named Miguel. up with the name Coco, now that I think about it, if his name's Miguel?
That's the thing. They answered that question in the movie. It's actually the name of his great-grandmother, who's still alive, and she's super, super old. And this movie, like Josh said it tugs at all of your heartstrings. Like, I was actually crying in the theater. Like, it was really good. It didn't, like, take any surprising twists or anything that I didn't see coming. I kind of knew the direction it was going in halfway through the movie, and yet it still made me just really, really emotional, and it was so much fun. The music works so perfectly. Like, it's a musical in that there's a lot of music, but it's not a musical like they're breaking from the story to tell parts of it through music. It's just a story that's about music.
That's interesting that it be named after the great-grandmother, like the title of the film. Interesting. So what did you think about Coco?
To be honest, I never in a million years thought that they could top Inside Out. I still think Inside Out is, like, well, before I thought it was the best movie they'd ever done. It's not my favorite. WALL-E's still my favorite, but Inside Out's a really close second. But I do think that Coco tops it. I do think it's better than Inside Out. I don't like it more than Inside Out, because Inside Out, like, I really resonate with the message of that story, with it, like, okay to be sad, and like how happiness and sadness go hand in hand, that kind of stuff. But it's so well done, and the story is really good, and it really resonates with, like, you not being accepted by your family. And so even though it's about, like, his family doesn't accept that he's into music, you could really see this working into, like, kids coming out and their parents not accepting them for that, or just stuff like that. And it really hits you, and the story is just so well done. The visuals are amazing. The music is just unbelievable. Like, Pixar truly outdid themselves. I do think this is the best film that they have made to date.
Oh, that's really good to hear. The numbers are pretty good too. On pace to make $70 million. It is the number one grossing film in Mexico already. It's going to probably keep growing. Mexico actually, like, people will be like, well, it has a large budget, a large population, and could actually bring a lot of revenue dollars to kind of help cover the domestic loss that there's going to be, because it's still not going to be as strong in the United States as other Pixar films, probably, but it'll probably have a better worldwide.
It's so bizarre, too, because, you know, they put that Olaf short in front of it, which is funny because Phoebe was saying that she had people in the theater that thought they were in the wrong movie because that short is so long.
Yeah.
But I had completely forgotten that they showed that short when the movie was over. I'd completely forgotten about it until I was, like, in the car, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that was a thing that we watched, too, which it was fine. Yeah. It was cute, but it is, like, nothing. Like, Coco just completely just, like, wipes that away because it was just so good. And it's a shame that they have to do that to get, like, the American audience into the theater, but Coco is definitely something that you should see and will be better than Olaf, just so you know.
Are they advertising a lot about that Frozen short being
not really. Yeah. And to be honest, I'm not really seeing a lot of Coco advertisements at all.
Oh, well, like, you kind of live weird. In a town outside of a city, don't you?
I mean, Mount Juliet's pretty big.
Well, like what? What's your population estimate?
Oh, God, I don't know.
You don't have an idea?
I don't live in, like, Watertown, though. I don't live in DeKalb County.
Well, sure. Like, you've just said, like, 3 places that I don't know. So
I feel like with a name like Watertown, though, like, you understand what I mean.
Yeah, they were like, we should stop here. There's water. Oh, yeah, okay. Watertown.
Yeah, Watertown. That's right.
Well, okay. Well, you know, that's the thing, though. I'm seeing a ton of advertising. I'm seeing lots of posters on this. Like, every poster at every bus stop is Coco and stuff like that. So,
but you also have to remember, Dale, I live in the South.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Which is weird because you're closer to Mexico. You think you would appreciate it.
I know, but we also have a lot more. Well, I don't know if it's more, but there's a lot of racist people that live here.
Mm-hmm. You know what? To be honest, yeah, we know that in the South, yeah. But we've shown that it is more prevalent in areas that we didn't think it was prevalent in.
It's true. So it's very true.
And. So, you know, like you would think New York isn't, but actually it's one of the most segregated cities in the entire world. So, yeah. you know, it's good. I'm glad to hear that Coco's doing well. I'm excited to see it. I just, financially, I couldn't go see it because I have to bring so many people when I go see a movie. And, and
it's kind of an ordeal when you go see a movie.
Yeah, like it's a whole thing. So, but I'm still really excited to see it. I do plan to see it.
Hey, Movie Pass, man. I just got mine. Still in the mail.
Yeah, we don't have that.
Oh, well, sucks for you.
Yeah.
I live in the South.
Yeah. Our movie tickets are like $15 a ticket.
Oh, man. They just raised them at my theater. They're like $14 now. That's what kind of prompted me to do it, because I'm like, okay, this is getting ridiculous.
Yeah. So you get the one movie of the month now?
Well, like, you get to see one every 24 hours, and you just pay, like, I got the deal because they're doing, like, a thing for the end of the year where it's only, like, $7 a month instead of $10. So you just pay that, and then you can go see as much as you want, basically.
That's cool. That's good. It's good for the movie theaters because you'll go and you'll buy like a popcorn or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And
I'd be more likely to buy concessions because now I don't, because it's too much for a ticket and concessions.
Exactly. No, it's exactly. It's probably a better thing for the individual movie theaters, maybe not as good for the production companies. So we'll see, but that's cool.
Yeah, because they're really struggling.
Well, I don't know. Things have to make their money, you know?
That's true.
Things still have to make their money. But it's so cool about Coco. I'm glad it is as good as people are saying, you know, because I don't think I could handle another disappointing Pixar film.
No, especially since they just put out Cars 3. Like, they needed a good one, because otherwise it looked like Pixar was out of ideas.
I haven't seen Cars 3. You
still haven't seen Cars 3? You don't need to.
No, because
to be honest, I thought it was a waste of time.
We know what the movie is. We already.
Oh yeah.
We've all seen Rocky 2. You know, like
that's what it is.
Like why? Yeah, it just lacks.
The only thing that it did is that it's better than Cars 2, but I still think it was just a waste. I'm sure they're making lots of money off of toy revenue, though.
Yeah, and we'll get to it in a bit, but I actually think I have some things to say. I have some things to say about Pixar and Disney animation, but that's going to lead into our other topic. For now, let's get on to the 411 on 1901. So Dragon Ball fans will be mad that I say that there's going to be Super Saiyan Jedi. I don't know why they're mad about it, but that's...
Why would they be mad?
I don't know, that's the reaction they gave. They gave angry face. They're like, angry face.
Faces.
It's like, why are you angry about the idea of Super Saiyan Jedi? The delightful mods on Reddit, also...
Always a delight.
We're like... you know, you're trying to make an impossible connection, you know, blah blah blah, and it's like,
but like, you're not making a connection. You're using it as like a way to explain the thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, literary imagery or storytelling imagery. I get imagery just in general, just imagery. You know, like, anyways, I made a video.
Dale finally made a video.
My theory is that there will be Super Saiyan Jedi. I gave you guys a kind of a primer last episode about it, but I don't know, I think the video came together well. You know, the imagery is very strong. There's literally the day before or after I released the video, a trailer came out with Luke telling her to like
to stop,
like, don't go there, like, hold it back. It's like, hello. I feel like it's going to be one of those things where I'm going to be right.
Well, and I think you're right, because what are the odds that both Rey and Kylo are going to be the strongest Jedi you've ever seen?
Yeah.
Like, that just seems like a cop-out, unless this is exactly how the Force works, which makes a lot of sense, you know?
Yeah, so I'm excited to see some Super Saiyan Jedi. You know,
hey, 3 weeks, man.
I know. 3 weeks. Yeah. As soon as there's energy around, if there's an energy field around them, or like their like Rey's eyes change and his eyes change, or anything, any physical transformation or visual energy whilst they fight to go into a higher level of fighting, I win. I win the theory wars, everybody.
It's true. It's true.
Because I don't think anyone has this theory. So yeah, so I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. I liked doing the video. And then Josh had a Small World holiday ride. It's really cute. If you want to just see a POV of the holiday version of It's a Small World, it's really cool. They put like jingle bells and stuff like that. Then also we have the penultimate episode of Ready Player One, Explain This Book to Me. I really wished the DCC was just a show where we talked about Ready Player One.
It's so good, but we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna have a little epilogue, and we're gonna talk about it. And I do think that now with Explain This Book to Me, if we're gonna do a series, I think we should only do the first book in the series. And I also think you should listen to it along with the talking. So I think it worked out really well in this one.
Yeah, it made it better. And also I've now listened to the audiobook of it all, and yeah, you're not good at describing fight scenes, that's for sure.
I told you. That's why it was like, okay, there's robots and they're fighting, and let's just move on.
You're like, let's just move on. You're like, meanwhile, it's like 3 chapters.
Yeah, it's like, as what I said, it's like, I can't explain fight scenes. Like, let's keep going.
I do love Will Wheaton. He does a great job at portraying everyone's emotions during the final scenes.
Oh, that's good. Because it's a really emotional end, I think.
Yeah, it was really powerful. I loved it. If you were waiting for the series to be done, really now it is, so you can binge listen to all of
go ahead and binge it now.
Ready Player One. And if you liked it, if you liked that podcast for all, please share it with a friend. Tell somebody, leave a review on iTunes about it or about the channel. That stuff goes a long way. We haven't had a review in a couple weeks, so please leave us a review if you haven't left us one yet, and help us be more discoverable. It goes a long way. Helps our egos, really, is the thing. And then also, Josh did a Modern Mouse Radio about John Lasseter, where he talked about the information too soon, or he should have talked about it. I don't know. But Twitter also confuses me as well.
It's the internet, man. It's just
usually when people say stuff to us, I'm like, yes, oh cool, thank you so much for your feedback or whatever. But I kind of just felt like
it was a little unfair on Josh's part, I think, because all they could do was talk about the information that they had. Yeah. I don't really know what they could have done different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And you can check it out on our Twitter at Network1901 to see like the feedback and forth. I get a little snarky at the end, but
I mean, there's nothing without Sassy Dale. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I'm not rude.
I thought it was a great episode, though. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, they're just we're talking about frickin' John Lasseter, this person that we've all revered, and we're saying is the next Walt Disney. I think we had an episode about that, 5 episodes or 6 episodes, like around D23 we talked about it, about how he's kind of the new Walt, really.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
And, that leads perfectly into our next segment, Gotta Geek Out, because John Lasseter, Sleeping Beauty, and Predatory Romances.
It's a doozy, man.
Yeah.
It's a doozy.
We're not in a time right now that we get to talk about too many happy things, which is okay. But we got to talk about this stuff. And what I want to say too is that during any sort of things that are happening, whether it be terrorism, whether it be sexual assault, whether it be white privilege, whatever the issue that we're targeting is, or whatever's coming to fruition, or whatever's in the media and news, if you are upset and just totally outraged, that's excellent. People do not need to match your level of outrage for it to be as important to them as it is to you. And I think that's an important thing for us to remember during these times. My outrage is not going to match your outrage. It just won't. I process these things differently. I have a different method of processing these things. And getting outraged about stuff is not how I do it. That does not take anything away from how important I think these things are, or how they eat away at me, or how I talk about them. I talk about these stuff all the time. My friend the other day was like, I think it was during Star Wars or something, Discovering Star Wars, he's like, you talk about racism a lot. And I'm like, yeah, we were talking about racism a lot in society at that time, and I like to process things out. I like to analyze and observe from all angles, and not that I'm taking different sides, I just like to try to figure it out. You know?
Well, as a wise man once said, sometimes you have to take the side of your enemies. That way you can predict what's going to happen next and better understand them.
It's true. It's true. And also, too, sometimes I think we make decisions like, here's an example. We're like, well, elephants are causing deforestation in the jungle. It's obvious. They're giant animals, and they're trampling everything, and they're eating all the vegetation. And you're like, well, deforestation and desertification is terrible. The whole world will suffer from that. What should we do? Well, scientists had decided that killing elephants was the greatest idea that they could do, which everyone was on board with. They're like, yeah, let's kill some elephants. It'll help deforestation, and it'll be better for the populations in the long run. So they killed like 50,000 elephants. Well, guess what? Deforestation got worse.
Why? Because people is the problem.
Because desertification occurred. It's because you actually need those animals to be migrating to stop desertification. It doesn't matter that they trample. Them trampling stuff is actually a good thing. But, so that's why I'm using that example, is because it was a reaction to try to do something good, and it caused it to be worse. And so I like to always make sure that we're not doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that analyzing makes people think that you're not taking issues seriously.
Well, and I think that kind of feeds into what people have been saying about Sleeping Beauty and how, like,
which you talked about like a long time ago, by the way.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, I've talked about this in a couple of videos. You know, like, Sleeping Beauty, yes, it is an unconsensual kiss. And to be honest, if you read the original fairy tales, both Sleeping Beauty and Snow White were raped. Yeah. Disney actually created the concept of True Love's Kiss to get around this, to be more in line with 1930s, 1950s ideals. Mm-hmm. What we can do is look at these and say, that's not okay. Let's not do that anymore. What we can't do is judge these movies from a 2017 gaze, because these movies were not made in 2017. Yeah. All we can do is say, hey, let's not have princes kiss princesses awake anymore, because that's creepy and, like, not consensual and not okay. That's like the one thing about Maleficent that I kind of thought was interesting, because they just had her, like, kiss her on the forehead, and that was just motherly and fine instead of, you know,
sure,
whatever.
You know, that being said as well, though, we need to put things into context of the story they're in. It's not like the prince just was like, hey, there's some sleeping girls, I'm going to go kiss them.
Well, in the original he did, but not in this one. Not in this one.
Let's talk about the context of the story of the, you know, like, this particular story.
Exactly.
Is there consent in the kiss? No. But again, this isn't like a college girl who was sleeping in her dorm room and a guy creeped in and kissed her. This was a princess who was under a magical spell that could only be broken via kiss. Okay, like,
which is true.
What Shannon's point is, we now would create story structure and plot devices that wouldn't cause unconsensual kisses. That's what we should do in the future.
We're learning from that because we don't want that in our stories anymore.
But in the story itself, it's not predatory. It's not... There's not a that's it. It's not predatory, right? We were trying. The guy's trying to rescue a princess. Context,
which is true.
Context is important.
Which is absolutely true. But here's the thing, though. It's the reason it's like that is because it was written that way, and that is kind of what brings me to this video from the Pop Culture Detective called "Predatory Romances in Harrison Ford Movies."
Yeah.
And he brings up, like, Han and Leia, the one from Blade Runner, some from Indiana Jones, like that kind of stuff. Because the thing about it is that what each of the scenes that he brings up is showing is that when the girl says no, she's not really saying no. It's really her saying try harder because the girl secretly wants it. And she's written to react positively to their predatory behavior. But see, from now, looking at it from a 2017 gaze, we have to say, okay, we know that in the story, in the context, that's the way it was going to go. But nowadays, we have to look at it and say, well, really, we cannot, assume that because that's not going to happen in real life. So from stories moving forward, we need to take that away because that's not the way we want it. In these movies, it works with the context. That's the way it was written. But nowadays, we have to see that that's not correct, and we need to just fix it in the new stuff in moving forward.
Yeah, but also, too, it does happen like that in real life sometimes as well. But
you should never assume that,
No,
though.
of course not. Of course not. And whether it is art imitating life or life imitating art, I don't know. How would I ever know that?
Right. Because you're correct. Sometimes it is the case, but you should never assume that that's not going to be the rule. It's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And it all depends on the relationship and all that stuff and all that. It's a complex world. It is a complex world.
It is a very complex world. And
it always has been. It's not different. It's not more complex. It's always been a complex world. These are always the battles and things that we all struggle with. As a husband, I tend to make the moves on Mandy more than she makes the moves on me. And when I was younger, I used to get not upset, but I would feel bad about myself when she would be like, oh, no, I'm not really in the mood. Thanks for the kiss, though. And that would make me feel bad. And then you're trying to overcompensate, and it makes you insecure. And you're insecure now with your own wife. You're not like that. You shouldn't have, that's the thing you don't have to be insecure about is with your own wife. You just know that she loves you. And it took a lot of effort to make sure that I was just okay with myself and leave it up to her. Put it in her court a lot more often. Don't always try to pounce on every situation. Don't turn every cuddle into a makeout session or something like that.
You're right.
These are awkward things for me to talk about. I'm not talking about them super comfortably, but I'm just talking about it's okay if you aren't now or weren't always at these standards that you think that you have to meet now.
Right. It's totally fine. It's absolutely fine if you have not always been at the standard. Yeah. What matters is that you're recognizing the change and you're working towards making the change, no matter how long it takes you.
Exactly. And it might take you a long time. You might never get there, but it's and I'll tell you,
it's you can't flip a switch overnight. It's not like Book of Mormon, turn it off like a light switch. It doesn't happen.
I would say it's probably taken me a couple of years. It took me a couple of years.
You're changing a mindset.
Yeah,
is what it boils down to, especially for any issue. That comes down to racism or just anything. You're changing a mindset, and that's a lot harder to do than people would like it to be.
Yeah, well, and there's pressures on guys in a sense where if our wife or our girlfriend doesn't want to be with us, well, okay, that means either she doesn't like us anymore, or she's getting it from somewhere else, or you're not good enough or good at it or whatever. And those are the insecurities and things that you'll start to deal with, right? And that's slightly different for women, and they have different insecurities about it. But it talk to your guy friends about it. Don't you know what I mean? I would talk to my guy friends about this type of stuff, more of the insecurities and those types of things. Than I would talk about
conquest.
None of my friends talk about conquest. I've never had a group of guy friends where we're like, hey buddy, how's it going? Yeah, check it out. this girl, like
the locker room talk.
It's so weird. Like, I don't even know. I know some guys who are kind of like that, but even then, it's not really quite what you think what it is. It's guys are kind of not always so crude, but you know, like, and talk about that stuff, because you know what? Maybe, like, I guarantee there's people listening to me right now who are like, whoa, like, I kind of know what you're talking about, and I maybe didn't think that other people had the same thing. I don't know, but it's huge. Like, it's like John Lasseter, like, he should be gone. He should just be gone. He should just go away forever now, unfortunately. Thank you for creating Pixar. You've done a great job. Thank you for creating, bringing Disney animation back to life. Thank you. You've done a good job. But the comments that Rashida Jones makes me extremely concerned and worried, and about just the saying that women and minorities don't have a voice. And it honestly,
it's true,
though. When I heard of one, it makes me feel like that kind of helped break the story about John Lasseter. I think she came on and saw what was happening. I don't think, like, necessarily like she said,
like, blew the whistle.
I think, like, it just kind of, yeah. But it also didn't sound like she was necessarily talking about her own self. I didn't get the sense. I like, it wasn't, you know, I didn't feel like they were listening to me, and I think it's because it was like, well, this is a culture that doesn't listen to women and minorities.
Yeah, I found a recent article that said that she didn't leave because it was necessarily happening to her. It was entirely because of creative differences, and those are the creative differences, that this is an environment that wasn't really listening to minorities.
Or women.
Or women. Well, in this environment, I guess women kind of were the minority.
Sure, but women, yeah, but women.
I know, I agree with you.
And we shouldn't think of them as a minority. We should think of them as equals, because
we should think of everybody as equals.
Yes, I know, but just
and
number-wise, it's the majority.
Oh yeah, but like the best thing that has come out of this is that it's prompting discussion. Like, this is a lot of the times stuff that's taboo to talk about, stuff that we ignore, and the fact that we're able and, like, willing to kind of discuss it now is really good, because, like you were saying, like, you can't just assume that people are one way. Like, you were saying that, like, you can't just, like, assume if somebody, like, doesn't want to be touched or, like, that kind of stuff. But, like, you do have to talk about it. For the longest time, that's just as uncomfortable, you know, to talk about that kind of stuff. And Shannon, now we're having those conversations.
Yeah, Shannon and I had a conversation about this, and we debated. We're debating because, again, I'm trying to think about what do we want to be as a society.
Exactly.
Right? And we don't want to be this society where, like, any physical contact is met with outrage and aggression and accusation.
Oh, right.
But we also want to live in a world where people feel safe and comfortable. So right now, the pendulum's just pushing hard against one way, where it's like everyone needs to be asked, like, just leave them alone, stop touching people. And then it will start to come back, right? And it was like when we talked about cisgender, where we have to use the term cisgender to talk about the spectrum, but it probably isn't a great use of a word to describe people, because it isn't a word that can be celebrated. I was listening to the No Midnight podcast the other day, and Corey was talking about all the stuff that's going on, and he said, like, I don't want people to think that this is just like a straight cisgender problem, right? And he talked about Kevin Spacey and George Takei and stuff. And, you know, it's funny because, like, I felt like cisgender is unnecessary there, but it's because we're already having to buffer the fact that, like, oh, like, don't get all on cisgender, like, you know, like, don't, it's already being used, like, it's already thought of so derogatory in a lot of context, and I just see it, and yeah, like, so, but that it's fine because it has to be done right now, right? Like, and eventually it'll get to a place where, you know, everyone can just celebrate who they are in a sense, and we're at a point right now where we're like, hands off, stop touching people. Well,
right, and I think I was listening. Yeah, I think I was listening to.
Problem. It's a man problem. It's not.
Well,
right now. Nothing, at this point in time, until the whichever woman gets blown out of the water for this, but you know,
because it's definitely not only creepy old men that do these things. Like, it can happen to anybody. And I think I was listening to Meta Machina where they were talking about, like, it's great that we have, like, these people online that want to, like, be super active and, like, try and, you know, swing the pendulum in the other direction. Sure. But you get people that go too far and they ruin it for everyone. And I think we've talked about that too. Like, you can have extreme ends, and what happens is, as we shift from, like, all around, eventually we'll settle back in, but we're still kind of swinging around. And, you know, like the cisgender term, things will start to die down, but right now we're still kind of trying to settle into how to talk about these things, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, but the point is that we're talking about it, and that's a good thing. And you have to understand, like, John Lasseter, for me, is more influential than Walt Disney.
Right, because he's our time. Walt Disney wasn't our time.
I remember seeing Toy Story in the theaters. I remember like knowing it's the first computer animated film. Like, I had to get the VHS. It was monumental to me. Like, Pixar's the first, like, movie studio that you followed and, like, were rooting for.
Right, exactly.
Right? You're like,
so it's hard to find out that this person you've looked up to isn't, you know, is having these things said about them. It's hard to, you know. I thought
Pixar was, like, this nice, great culture.
Right.
But really, I guess it was just really nice for white dudes. You know,
which, you know, is starting to maybe change. I don't know. Recently have had, you know, one film directed by a woman. We've had two that have been female led. We've now had a movie about Mexico. All of those are recent developments. There haven't been very many of them, but the fact that they are happening is a good thing. Like, we are starting to shift, but it's a slow process, and it is a process.
I think you said we are sharding.
We are shifting.
We are sharding.
I'm from the South, okay? That's the name of the episode.
Yeah, I'm from the South.
I'm from the South.
Yeah, but so John Lasseter needs to go, just for both reasons, for all of it, for this culture that is being created, that is coming to fruition, and for the I'm like, the fact that people, Disney knew about this behavior too, which bothers me. Because it was known, it was ubiquitous. Like, you made sure he didn't give you a kiss.
Yeah, if you have to have, like, a move called the Lasseter that your female employees are talking about, like, that's a problem.
It's a super problem, and I'm just so sick of everyone having allowed this behavior.
Oh yeah, because, like, I believe in, like, you know, hey, you make a mistake, you should let them try to fix it. But I also believe in consequences, and I feel like if this has been going on for too long, he can try and fix his behavior, but it shouldn't be as
it shouldn't have happened. Fix your behavior. Like, you can, like, look, we can all try to become better people, and we've just talked about it beforehand. Yes, we like it. You know, it does. You know, you can always start now, right? You can always start improving now. But I'm sorry, you broke you broke everyone's trust.
Exactly. Like, that's the consequence. You need to go away.
You actually did create a negative culture. And you know what? There's probably great stories
that could have been
things that could have been.
That
could have been if there was a better culture. You know, so it's a 6-month vacation, unfortunately, is not a good enough punishment for John Lasseter.
No, it does need to be, he needs to go away and maybe figure it out on his own.
Like, if he keeps all his shares and stuff and whatever, like, I don't care about that aspect of it. You know, I'm not in the, but yeah, no, he can't be in charge of people.
No, for sure. And it's like, again, like,
he can go start his own animation company.
He can go start his own thing. He can go do whatever he wants. He can go try to, you know, be better or anything, but he can't do it at Pixar anymore. No. Unfortunately, that's the consequence.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, it's fine. Like, it'll be fine.
It will be fine.
It'll make it so other creative minds get to step forward. And it'll, you know, through through adversity there'll be diversity. Through adversity there'll be more diversity in the end, and that'll be a good thing for everybody. So yeah, I don't know. So long, and thanks for all the fish, I guess, for John Lasseter.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is a little. It is
and
weird.
I don't say it like again, like,
yeah.
Because again, I do think a lot of people in the community in the first day or so were very protective.
Oh yeah.
But it's okay. We should be a little protective of people. We shouldn't just accept rumors and accusations as facts. That is good. We shouldn't chastise people for being protective about the for being like, well, okay, like I've heard that John Lasseter is a hugger. Maybe like that story's kind of getting out, and maybe he took it too far. I don't know, right? We didn't.
It's all
know.
about getting the facts, right?
And then as the facts come, then people are making, like, again, you couldn't have found someone who would have been like John Lasseter, like face of Disney, like guy more than me. But now, bye, like, bye, Felicia. You know, like,
right, yeah. And it's like, we're not just saying it like, see ya and good riddance. It is sad, but
sucks.
It's a necessary thing that needs to happen.
Yeah. I wish you were as good at treating people equally as you were making films that told me I should treat everyone equal.
Yeah, that's what's kind of weird about it. It's like, because Pixar is so good at telling you to, like, accept people. And then
Zootopia. Did you not watch Zootopia?
Oh my, yeah, like, did you not watch Zootopia, man? It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I know you didn't make it, but
yeah. Oh, but you know, I don't know. And maybe the white problem that Disney and Pixar have is stemming from him. Right?
It could be. We'll never know until he walks away.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we'll find out.
It sucks, but you know, you broke everyone's trust, and there's people who feel victimized, and yeah, that's just unfortunate for everybody. Top of the morning to you. Jacksepticeye here. He's back, everybody.
Oh, my heart.
I should have done my hair. Okay, so people might not know this. I was gonna get my hair dyed, and like,
yeah, you never did.
No, because you just hold on, and I was gonna get it this like special turquoisey color, because I'm like, I don't want to do green and I don't want to do red. I can't be Jacksepticeye and Markiplier.
And then Jack's hair faded.
Changed his hair to my hair color.
It faded. He didn't dye it that color. He hasn't dyed it yet.
I know, but and then
he can't decide. He might be going back to his regular color, so you might be safe now, Dale.
But I have a can of hairspray hair dye that has that color in it. That color. So I should have done it. I'll do it next week.
Yeah. See, now that's what I'm wondering, because I'm getting my hair recolored this week, and now I'm wondering if everybody's gonna be like, oh, well, she just likes Star Wars, so she's just doing it for Emma. I'm like, no, I've been dyeing my hair purple for a year. Like, come on, man.
Whatever. Who cares? Who cares? Are you gonna do more purple?
No, I did more purple last time. Yeah. I think I might do it lighter. I'm not sure yet. Okay. We'll see.
Cool. Cool.
I think I'm gonna switch to a different person to do my color, because I had somebody different do it last time and I really liked it. So we'll see.
Cool. But yes, Jacksepticeye. Well, he's always around. He's always around. But
my pride and joy.
But Dale's version of him is back. There's a new game called Heartbound that Jack is playing, and basically it's Earthbound.
Well, not playing. There's only a demo.
Or sorry. But it is basically Undertale meets Earthbound, and even like Undertale is already Earthbound, so it's like Earthboundiness, and it's called Heartbound.
Yes, and this might be the game that makes Shannon finally play the game, because I really got into this. This was, to be honest, like, this game, it wasn't tailor-made for Jack's style, but it fit him so well because he can do his voices and just the way the gameplay works. It worked so well, and the story seems like it's going to be really, really interesting, because it's like about a boy and his dog, and he's like trying to get his dog back. Yeah. And I already found out that this little 30-minute demo has like 10 different endings that you can get. It's amazing. Like, I went and I followed them on Twitter, and I've been following this game now. I want to get like the pins and the stickers. Like I'm so excited for this game.
Super excited.
It's so cute. Like, you guys should look them up. It's shoot, I should look up the name of the game developers. Go ahead and talk. I'm going to find this.
Dale's talking now. I'm talking. It's a real professional.
You talk for a living or anything.
It's a real professional. Real professional here.
Real professional.
We're all professional.
It's okay.
I'm too on the spot.
Go and follow @Pirate Software to like get updates about this game, because they are awesome. We'll put the link down below, all that kind of stuff. I'm so excited.
Yeah, super excited. It looks awesome.
Have you watched it yet, the demo?
Well, I've watched part of it, but I saw enough to know that yay. I was at work. I can't just like watch demo videos all the time.
Right, yeah. Well, and I know like Undertale fans are already like upset that people are comparing it to Undertale. That's what they did when Jacksepticeye compared Hiveswap to Undertale, but it does have Undertale vibes. It's not the same, but the art style's very similar.
The vibes are strong for sure.
The story, it's got those vibes. It is there.
And also, you know what? Why would you be upset about that? It has no impact on anything.
Like, we want more. Yeah, I'm like, don't we want more stories in games like that? Like, come on.
Stop comparing everything because it makes.
There's no Dragon Ball in Star Wars.
There's no Dragon Ball in Star Wars. How could Star Wars be in Dragon Ball, and how could Dragon Ball be in Star Wars?
That makes zero sense. Why would you want these two things you love to be connected?
Yeah. Because, yay, Otis Butt.
Otis Butt. He's so cute. Oh my god.
I'm just kidding.
I thought you were going to do it.
No, I know. I just pretended. Yeah, well, go play that game.
Yeah, go play that game. Go play the demo. Get all of the endings. And then go watch Jack play it, because his voices are, as always, just amazing. As always.
Oh, one of the things that I wanted to say, too, because I wanted people to make sure to understand how important it was that Rashida Jones said these things, was that she worked on Parks and Recreation. You know what I mean? Like, she was part of a cast of a big culture where everyone had input, and there was a large writer's room and stuff like that. So that says a lot. And I want people to remember that, you know, like that says a lot about what she's saying. You know,
that gives you context.
It gives you more context, because you could be like, well, what? She just was this actress in the show. It's like, no. She's very, like, that the whole, The Office was written like that. The producers and the writers and the actors were the same people. And Parks and Recreation is very similar that way. And so those people create the culture, so they know what a positive culture is. And, yeah, so, you know, come on, people. Yeah, I don't know. I know it's like you want to listen to podcasts and you want to like escape from the world, and you can do that with Explain This Book to Me, Ready Player One. But
oh yeah,
we got to keep talking about this stuff for now.
Yeah,
and
if we don't talk about the important things, then we're no better than Brave New World, which we talked about last week.
And we have this platform to talk on, and if we don't. Everyone knows we're trying to build a community, and everyone knows we care about these issues very much so. And everyone knows that we're not coming from a left or a right or anything. We know we don't have political agendas that way. We don't have ideologies that way, because we think ideologies in a kind of are a failing of society, right?
They tend to be. Yeah.
You got to stick in your ideology. You're on team social libertarian. I gotta be a social libertarian. It's like. It's fine. We're at the end of the show. But anyways.
I was just telling you. I'm like, I told you they were going to start barking.
So the only agenda that we ever have is, you know, make sure everybody's fine and that we're celebrating each other and you know, everyone's okay. So.
Yeah. Percy agrees with you.
Yeah. Thanks, Percy. Thanks, Percy.
My silver unicorn.
Yeah. Well, with that, this has been episode 44 of the DCC. You can reach us all on all the social medias. And please, someone please leave a review. I just need one review. It makes me so sad.
Dale is wasting away. It's just like, you know, the Peter Pan play. Clap your hands to save Tinkerbell. Write a review to save Dale.
I do believe in reviews. I I do believe in reviews. No, but seriously. And if you're watching on YouTube, please find out who that one person is who dislikes every video I do. It drives me nuts. No.
It's Josh. He told you so.
I know. A part of me wishes it was Andy. I don't know why.
What did I tell you about drunk texting your ex, Dale?
I know. Skylar thinks we should have Andy on the show. I don't know. They've redone their logo.
I feel like that's still 2 votes for no and 1 vote for yes.
I think it would be good for him and I to just talk.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
So yeah. Anyways.
But anyways.
Andy, if you want to talk, email me and you can come on the show.
Finish out.
I'm making an executive decision here. It'd be fun. I don't know. I don't have any problems with Andy. Would be nice to catch up. Well, I guess we'll see you in a galaxy far, far away. Bye, double hand wave.
Bye.
Keep your hands to yourself, people.
That's right. Did you see this? What's up, Odin?